Now to a major international summit beginning today with important economic and national security implications for the United States. President Biden lands in India in just about 2 hours for the annual G20 gathering. Notably absent Chinese President Xi Jinping, and Mr. Biden is expected to take advantage of that to combat China's growing influence on the world stage. Tom Dempsey explains from Washington what we can expect this weekend. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Marky. Yeah, just a few hours, President Joe Biden will be touching down in India to meet with some of the world's top leaders during this G20 summit. But obviously, keep in mind, this comes amid growing tension with China. And one very big goal for the United States and President Biden during all this will be countering some of that influence that we're seeing China getting with its military and its economy. In particular, China has seen growing influence giving money to low and middle income countries, specifically in Africa and Southern Asia. That has built much more dependence on China and helped China expand its reach in those regions. So expect to hear discussion about the World Bank during this trip. President Biden's team has already asked Congress to approve $3 billion all for the World Bank, but he'll try and get other countries on board as well during this trip. And ahead of the G20 summit, as you said, Marky, we also know Chinese President Xi Jinping will not be attending. China offered really no reason for why he would be sitting out. But speaking with NewsNation this week, National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said the U.S. could still make lots of progress speaking with leaders from there.
China will be represented at some level, not at the presidential level, but they'll have representatives there. And hopefully they'll be active participants in these discussions and hopefully willing to work with us and our other G20 partners at trying to find some real solutions here.
Also expect to hear chatter about India hosting the G20 summit. Back in June, President Biden welcomed India's Prime Minister here at the White House for an official state visit. With 1.4 billion people, India could play a very big role in shifting supply chains away from China. Boosting military ties between the U.S. and India may also help counter some of those aggressive tactics we continue to see from China. But India has also faced some criticism for not condemning Russia for the war in Ukraine and for human rights and press freedom issues raised by members of Congress. Many people will also be watching the health of President Biden as well after the First Lady tested positive for COVID earlier this week. She has since tested negative as recently as yesterday, but President Joe Biden has tested negative as well multiple times this week. But his team saying that he plans to wear a mask when he meets indoors with some of the world leaders during this summit. Guys.
Yeah, he'll be under the magnifying glass per usual. Tom Dempsey, thanks so much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.